I give massive gratitude and thanks for the angel whispers, the things that are coming in, my divine allies, the Most High coming into this physical realm and showing me these signs, physical or through people. And I'm here, I'm accepting, I'm allowing, and I'm receiving, and I thank you ahead of time. I'm so in gratitude for it. But what I don't want, and I don't use hate lightly, but there's one thing I hate. I hate when people shelve their dreams. The road of someday leads to the town of nowhere. Someday I'll get to it. I've seen it happen over and over again. 3 years, 3 days, 3 months, and it's now just withering off.
I'm Art Blanchford, and this is Life in Transition. Welcome back to this episode of the Life in Transition podcast. I am super excited to finally be sitting down with Adam Gaskill, who's a new friend of mine, whose purpose is to be loving, to enjoy serving humanity, and create a magical life for himself and others through his business that connects world game changers to serve humanity. Adam, it's been a pleasure getting to know you for the last few months, and I'm really excited to have you on the Life in Transition podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here and honored and grateful for what you're doing and your stewardship and the light and awakening that you represent on these podcasts. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Adam. So jumping in, what would you consider to be one of the most meaningful or impactful transitions that you've been through, Adam?
It'd probably have to be the transition out of the corporate, sustainable world into my fulfillment, my divine calling, and my mission in 2020. Working in insurance, licensed insurance agent for 50 on all 50 states, from billion-dollar firms doing change management to just really helping people solve those problems was really suffocating for my soul. I felt yearning for more. And then in 2020, I decided to burn my proverbial boats, per se.
Right.
And I had a quote from Zig Ziglar that was on my heart and mind. I said, if I'm able to help more people reach their dreams and reach their goals, naturally I'll hit mine. So I surrendered. It was shaky, to say the least. My family, my friends were like, why would you throw away a high 6-figure career? That's crazy. I'm originally from Nebraska, so the generational thing that wouldn't make a lot of sense to our circles. Right? Because it's consistent, it's certain, etc. But I knew there was something beyond internally. So when I surrendered and I had a quote. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So yeah, when I surrendered, the life, God, the universe opened up and brought me some incredible people. And I had the question on my heart, how can I best serve? Full-hearted, how can I add value? How can I best serve? I can go in depth in more details. I'll let you lead the show. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I wanted to go back because there's one word that jumped out at me when you talked about, okay, you're leaving the corporate world. And this is a very courageous act, and it's something that I have quite a few guests that talk about on here because it's on people's hearts and minds a lot. But the one word that jumped out at me is you said, I wanted more. But more has a lot of different definitions. So what was it that you felt that was lacking or that you needed more of when you were driving to make this change, to let go of? I mean, because in some ways it is crazy to let go of a high 6-figure income, because you feel like you need more. A lot of people would think that's more money, but obviously if you're making high 6-figure income already, it's maybe not that. So what was the more that you were looking for, Adam, at that point?
Fulfillment. Pure fulfillment. It was monotonous and repetitive, and the conversations around me, my growth was being stagnated. Knowing that I've been studying neurolinguistic programming, Tony Robbins, for 2 decades, and I wasn't having a chance to fully utilize my true talents and skill sets, knowing that I could, but it was underutilized, just felt like it was dying. And it was like, my goodness, this is not a good feeling internally. And I just started seeing things. And I'm like, what am I doing here? This is not, no matter what it is, I know I can serve bigger things and be more fulfilled simultaneously. It was just more of a trust and surrender to like, yeah, there's plenty of other things out here. And this is not my end path in insurance.
Okay. So you had a clear sense that you needed something that's more fulfilling. And the big part of that fulfilling sounds like it's about growth for yourself, but also being able to use your gifts. is a big
You
part of
got
what
it.
you're looking for that you didn't feel like you were getting in the day-to-day grind, I'll say, of the insurance business.
And the belief in myself that I knew what I could do and add value in the business world, specifically in the entrepreneurial space. Just because I didn't have a background or go to college with a degree, particularly, we have a PhD in results and helping people for so long, right? So it was
Right.
like, but I don't have it on my resume if someone saw it, but I knew what I've been doing and who we were talking to and different masterminds throughout while the career still was happening. But I didn't have a chance in that confinement to actually use those skill sets and show without you're an employee at blank or you're
Right.
this, right?
Right.
The labels.
Right. Or you have your, whatever, your PhD in entrepreneurship or coaching or whatever the case is. So that was 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
What's one of the biggest takeaways? I mean, because I also heard this word surrender in there, like how to, surrender to and to be able to use your gifts. But what's one of the biggest takeaways, Adam, that you've had in that 5 years?
So many. I mean, it's constant, never-ending improvement along the way, just pure journey. I mean, there's so many different nuance and wonderful things. What's one of the biggest ones?
Or just something that doesn't have to be the most significant, but something that resonates with you right now as we're talking. That's been a shift or a realization that you've had.
Yeah, I mean, the trust and literally deeply listening to individuals and where they're at and understanding the background of belief systems and neurology and coming from an open heart and sharing love and shining light within them and inviting them to a higher paradigm or a higher consciousness outside of their current belief system and so forth was very unique. It was odd because at first they felt shocked when I said, how can I best serve? How can I add value to you? How can I be a prayer answered? Which is very unusual to them.
Especially in
And I
the business
saw it,
world, yeah.
right. And I meant it too. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, how about this and this? And then we would add value, take inspired and joyful action. And they're like, wow, this is cool. So getting that extra confidence and seeing it and knowing that, I mean, some of the people initially phases that we were working with are world geniuses and like huge, amazing souls. And then it was a good reflection moment too. And not from an ego standpoint of like, well, you did make the right decision. Like, this is what we need. Like, this is what I've been looking for. This is what I've been praying. Even a couple of the instances I heard specifically. And I was like, okay, we're doing the right thing here on the right path.
Wow. And how long was it? Like when you made that decision? So you left your corporate job in 2020.
Yes.
And was there a time in there where it was shaky, or I don't know if this is the right path? You haven't seen the signs yet. Was there a dark night of the soul time in that time, or did it lift? Had you done the work already before and it lifted directly from there?
It was instantaneous. Quit the job, drove 17 hours, ended up at a sales conference event, woke up with a dear friend. He got on stage, met some people that built $100 million companies, started connecting with them. They said, I need to bring you somewhere. Ended up bringing me to a dear friend's place, a super genius who helped build military intelligence and save hundreds of thousands of lives. And it just started from there. Then we ended up getting on stage with Tony Robbins for winning Business Mastery and creating a charity. And then just more and more people kept coming in this space, and it was just very rapid.
That's super exciting. So then in my thinking, then you must have been doing your work and really being called, when you left that, to be ready to take that next step and really be trusting what you had surrendered to. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So where would your life be today, Adam, if you hadn't had the courage to take the step away from the predictable, safe dream life? I'll put dream, but the American dream life that you already had before you stepped away from it. Where do you think your life would be today?
It's hard to see that. It's even though this might sound metaphysical in nature,
Which is okay.
It's definitely a different realm, a different timeline in the aspect of traditional sense, familiarity, generational tie downs from past and family and so forth. stuck cycles, not bad, but not fulfilling. Same old, same old. I can imagine
Not
maybe a wife
magical.
back in Nebraska or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, tough
Yeah.
question, Art.
Yeah. No, but I think it's interesting. And I think it's important because there's a lot of people listening right now that are wrestling with that question. I've done everything that I thought I should do in life. I've checked all the boxes. And yet, and to use your word from the introduction, it's maybe my life doesn't feel magical. It doesn't feel fulfilled. Should I continue because everything looks right on paper? Everything is, I'm meeting all the shoulds in my life. Everything that my family, my society, myself, my early programming has taught me to do. I'm doing all these things. And shouldn't that be enough? Or shouldn't that, why do I want more? Or why, so that I think it's important to understand the trajectory that those two choices bring, and not that it's, not that it's magic and sunflowers and rainbows the whole time. If you make another choice, it can also be a lot of, hard work and questioning and so forth as well. But I'm curious, like, if you can't even see what your life was going to look like, if you hadn't made that choice, then at the time, what gave you the courage to make that choice? Like in the decision point, okay, I'm going to cut the golden handcuffs. I'm going to cut the golden rope, right? That most people, and to be blunt, most people dream of the situation you're in and strive for that. And not that many people even get there. And yet you're sitting there and saying, okay, I think there's something else. What gave you the courage to step away from the American dream and lean into something that's magical and fulfilling?
Repetition of specialized knowledge and learnings that I've been studying for a very long time. Knowing that we study the stuff 99% of the population doesn't really get into. And when I say NLP, not a lot of people know what neuro-linguistic programming is and what it is from the core foundation of learning and studies of excellence and modeling things that work, right, on a repetitive way, but connecting your neurology, your subconscious and conscious into action from a language and linguistics perspective into rituals, habits, and beyond. So knowing that we've spent hundreds of thousands of hours on the phones during an insurance, listening, picking up tunes, tones, all of this, but also from mentors and beyond, just teaching each other and going through these principles. Gentleman, when I was 17 and my mentor, he went deep into the business. I went deep into the psychology, and every single week for about a year and a half, we'd meet and we'd teach each other. We use money motivating things. So we'd condense multiple books, courses, and studies. And it was just rapid. It was rapid. I was like, okay, cool. So when I'm starting to go out in regular life and into some of these business circles and different things and networking events, and started noticing, wait, I can add value. There's something different here about, even though a lot of the people that I was starting to meet were very successful financially, but they weren't fulfilled, or it's a personal or something psychological on their wheel of life, whether what that is, right, was lack in their eyes. And I was like, whoa, well, here, try this or do this, or here's a system, a process, a formula that's really helped, right, in a loving way, because they're asking for it, right? And that just started stacking up the inner confidence for what this decision was. And then obviously some just logical logistics, like let's stack 6 months of pay and know that if I fail within 6 months, that's crazy. Then I will come back,
Right.
per se, right? Like it's not, even though I didn't believe I'd come back into that career, but I had to say it, I believe, to myself and also the family, because I just bought my one of my lifelong dreams I just accomplished too in 2018 for my folks. I had a chance to buy them a house and give them the keys and walk them through it.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, so that was like a little shocking for like, well, where's Adam in the same vicinity and so forth from a family dynamic stuff.
No, I think that's, there's some practical stuff. You gave yourself a timeline and said, okay, I can always come back if I need to. But mostly it sounds like you had done your work ahead of time.
Yes.
To know with a very high level of confidence, and even from the people that you'd already been interacting with in your professional life, that there was something here that you could really give that would be much more meaningful to you, much more fulfilling.
Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. What do you think is the next big transition for you? What do you think is the next big step? Something that's on the horizon or just over the horizon?
Yeah, it's I'm right in the flow right now. We're in the harmony, and we are floating down to this next, as of today and early next week as well. So another move has just occurred, and another relocation, but also the surroundings for my new business environment. I'm going to be moving down to Florida as well.
Very
So,
good.
hey,
I'll see you
right?
there.
There we go, neighbors. Let's do this.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. When is that taking place?
Next week, so
Oh,
Wednesday.
wow. Okay.
So it'll be right in close proximity, 15 minutes away from one of our business partners, and also an hour away from another business partner too. So what led to that was just pretty profound, from manifestation and just a surrender and an intention. So when I heard and I listened, I'm like, oh my goodness, what does this mean from a commitment perspective? I started getting excited. So everything started showing me different signs and scenes. I was like, okay, I'm on the right path. This feels very, very good. So I know that's not in-depth detail, but I'll let you do the follow-up if need be.
Yeah, no, but I think that it's showing that you're continuing to surrender. You're continuing to follow, what God's telling you and what you're seeing, and being willing to move into that flow instead of resist it or question it. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. And I wonder again, like, how do you maintain this sense of surrender and peace as you're going through all these very, very big changes, quite frankly?
Yeah. I mean, pure trust. I have a strong faith background as well. So when I hear the inner voice and I'm in silence, and then I'm having intention as well that I say almost every single day. And I'll paraphrase if it's okay to share.
Absolutely. You don't even have to paraphrase. You can say the whole thing if you'd like to, Adam. I'm really curious.
Yeah. So right when I'm my waking ritual or evening ritual before I go to bed, and I'm closest to my subconscious mind, and also throughout the day from an intention and harnessing energy perspective, I will share that I give massive gratitude and thanks for the angel whispers, the things that are coming in, my divine allies, the Most High coming into this physical realm and showing me these signs, physical or through people. And I'm here, I'm accepting, I'm allowing, and I'm receiving. And I thank you ahead of time. I'm so in gratitude for it. And surrender, trust, and I release. And it's just that. Now, the miracles, the golden threads, the breadcrumbs, they are constant and they're all around us. I think it's just our job to find them and be still and present, not into the loops of society being thrown at us, to notice what's happening and occurring. And I understand what the reticular activation system is. If we focus on something, it'll bring to our subconscious, but the astronomical synchronicities that are occurring are way outside that realm. So it's like, 1 in a million, 1 in a million, 1 in a million. Then I'm like, okay, hey, what is that? I don't know. I know.
This episode of the Life in Transition podcast is brought to you by MidLife Transition Mastery. If you have reached midlife and you are successful, you have checked all the boxes, you've done everything you thought you should do, and especially pleasing everybody else, doing what you think everyone else needs you to do, but you still feel like something's missing. Like you're coming up empty, feeling alone, feeling misguided or lost. MidLife Transition Mastery Explorer community is for you. Here we will build authentic community. We will learn about the 8 steps to mastering midlife transition. And we will learn and execute living life with no regrets in our second half. Please check out the community on lifeintransition.online/MLTM, Midlife Transition Mastery. And I look forward to seeing you around the fire in this community. Right. So you mentioned the question that's formed is, how do you know what are the signs you should follow? How do you know the right voice to listen to? And you mentioned one thing in there. You mentioned about silence, being in silence so you can hear it. But are there other tools or methods that you have, Adam, that help you to really to hear this guidance from the angels, from the guides, like that, and to know that it's that and not something else?
Yeah, so there's a frequency and energy, a tone. It's completely different when you hear it, because there are a few different voices that can try to sneak in, right, as well. My evidential procedure that I go through my own neurology is sometimes multifaceted, and it's not just one and done, right? It'll be sitting in space, going in nature, trusting, being around, hearing voices, or like people coming into my world, random text, like show me a sign, and you got 2 messages right here saying, hey, I'm feeling you're supposed to come here. Oh, no. Okay. I was like, right, that's pretty good, right? So then I'm like, I don't go back and question it after the decision, and it's so strong with it. So I guess I would call it like a decide, commit, resolve type of facet, that resolve factor, and not going and questioning and living back in the past. And I also believe my one of the things I learned from Pappy Denusa, one of the world's best manifestors out there, he really introduced the GPS system of emotions, and emotions as being the secret sauce and all these signs that it's giving us within. So if we're feeling a certain way, like truly, and it's not a healthy, and it's not at a love and above state on a frequency scale, it actually it's sending information more and more to you if you're aware of how to integrate that and how to take inspired, joyful, efficient action from it. It's like, this is not fully in alignment. This is not in the harmony. You could be just 2 millimeters away from it, but just really tuning in and listening and constantly learning and evolving into it. At the same time, I trust that decisions could be that, guess what? It's not, it could be I believe that life happens for us and through us, not to us. So it's like, I'm still being guided and held no matter what. Even if I make a wrong decision, I know it's closer to the goal by taking that action as well.
That's really interesting. Yeah, that's one that I haven't thought about before. That to trust that even if you don't get it right here, that it's tacking you closer, and then you'll have a chance to make another decision shortly that'll bring you even more in alignment.
Let me share something with you, Art. This what changed my life here last September when I heard this from a dear friend. She mentioned this to me. She said, normally in the past decisions of your life, it would be a fork in the road, and it could take you completely opposite directions and take away from your divine blueprint or your goal, your North Star, wherever you're meant to go, right? For it. But as you evolve and as you consistently keep going, it's not a fork anymore. It's like this. You're still getting to the destination. It's just a slightly different path for it. So It's like knowing that and feeling into the truth of that. It's like, oh, wait, it's not as drastic of a decision as you truly think. You're still going to get there no matter what. Just depends on if you wanted some extra lessons or your choice of the bumpy road or the scenic route, right?
Interesting. No, I love that, Adam. I love that. It brings to mind, I was at a Richard Rohr conference in New Mexico last weekend, and he talked about, in a sense, a similar thing, but I didn't put it together quite, because I sometimes feel that, like, oh, I'm sitting here and it's a crossroads and I need to choose carefully. But your point is that, hey, even if you choose this way, there's still another branch in the road soon that'll take you back on the right path. And Richard Rohr was saying that, God gets us one way or the other. All right. We either sort of come willingly, or we end up, because we get so far off track, if we keep making, I'll just say left turns, then we get to a place where we feel really desperate and despair, which brings us back to God. So that, even if it goes pretty far, but you're saying at every moment we have the choice to choose, and to have that trust that we're going to be choosing, even if this one is the wrong one, which, it's a wrong decision. There's not really any wrong decisions, but it still can take us closer back to our purpose in the next decision that we get to make.
Yes.
Yeah.
My favorite quote from Tony Robbins is, "In the moments of decision, your destiny is shaped."
Yes. Heard that one in person many times. Yeah.
Right.
But the point is that it's also, I was going to say it's nothing fatal, nothing final, right? That this decision, even if it feels really big, is not the last decision that you'll get to make.
Right.
And if it doesn't bring you closer to living your magical life or fulfilled life, then you can make another decision the next minute, the next second, the next year, the next decade, whatever it is, to bring you closer to that. No, that's really beautiful. What advice would you give somebody else that's sitting in the place of, okay, I'm doing well in life, but I'm feeling unfulfilled. My life doesn't feel magical. I feel like there's more to serve, more to give, more growth, more inspiration. What advice would you give them to start taking the steps or preparing for that action? And it sounds like you did a ton of preparation even before you decided to leave the corporate world, but what advice would you give?
Depends on how big the fulfillment question is. If it's a deep calling or something, an inner spark of a meant to do more, but just doesn't know how to get outside of that, whether it's corporate or situation. This is why our businesses was created specifically to steward, to shine the light on people who are shining the light, to take all the tyranny of how off of people's plates so they can go to the mountaintop and share their mission and vision, right? Also, on a simple basis, it's escaping the current conversation outside of regular, whether it's friends or family, and getting into new optics and new listenings and new wisdom. I'm a strong believer in success leaves clues and modeling. So if you're not alone in this fact, right? I know we're all unique, but normally that decision has been made successfully many, many, many times.
Right. Yeah.
But we don't usually gather that data or that information enough to make an full decision and feel good about it and be able to go through the fear, eliminate it, dissolve it, and know that the obstacle could be the way type of principle, right? So getting in a tribe or different optics, but also knowing that companies, people exist that are guides to walk alongside you every step of the way to help you reach that fulfillment and that deep calling. That's why the nonprofit creators exist for my art of fulfillment. And that's why we evolved into what's behind me with Innovate for Humanity.
Which is that the name of your company now, is Innovate for Humanity?
Yes.
Wonderful. So I think that's also really a good point, that even if I'm thinking about changing and I'm wondering if this has ever been done, there's been hundreds, if not thousands of people that have done a very similar transition to what I'm thinking about and done it successfully. I'm just not aware of them yet.
Yes.
So that's one, is to have that confidence. And then the second one is to find a guide that's walked that path, whether it's one of them or whether it's your company or something else that can help you see the success clues as you go.
You got it. And if we went in depth on a psychological and a neurological basis, it's the pain and the pleasure, the fear, right? Like what's happening internally for the decision to be made? What has to create certainty for you to feel good? What has to happen for you to know that this is the right decision? Some of these questions internally will give the representational systems how they see the world, their map of the world, and how they make efficient decisions, etc. So if we literally take a diagnostic report of what's going on internally, what are the questions that we're asking ourselves? What are we looking at more so? How are we taking action? There's a lot of different things that we could dive into there specifically for those individuals. And it could be just some simple self-reflective questions that really unlock truths. Like one question that's such a pattern interrupt that I learned from Tony Robbins is this necessarily true?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have all that information? Do you have all the information necessary for that? Because if we create uncertainty and a belief that's disempowering, now we create opening and gaps and chasms for truth, light, different wisdom to come in, right? Now we're at a malleable state rather than a cycle or a cyclosis that steals energy and can pull you back in the past and have your head focus that way, or focus of fear in the future instead of being in the present creation moment.
So what Yeah. So what would be, I mean, that was one of the questions. Is that the primary one? That's stealing Tony Robbins' line of your primary question. This is not the big primary question, but is that, this one of, is that necessarily true? I love that. I think that's Byron Katie also uses that one a lot, right? But is that a starting question, or what question would you give to somebody to help them to see the reality better?
So, what is, like, first off, I want to start with what they want instead of what they don't want, right? I want a clear result and a clear outcome. And I want it juicy from a language perspective, right? Like, what is it that you really want? What's an ideal result that you're after? That question alone, if it doesn't drive you, then we need to go a little deeper, right? That something that pumps you up, like, this feels good, this, yeah. You're like, okay, we're on to something here, right? But then we're not going to stop there. It's a second question of purpose, the why.
Right.
Why connected to that mission is so vital.
And can I go back one before that even? So if there's someone that's like, okay, I know something's not fulfilling, it's not going, but I'm not sure what I want. I'm not sure what pumps me up. Is there a question that you have that's before? I mean, I understand you're going for, okay, I get clear about what pumps me up, and then it gets clear about what's the why, right? But is there a tool that you use ahead of that to help people to get really clear? Because as you mentioned, there's a lot of people, maybe they start with what I don't want. I know I don't want this. I know I don't want the feeling I have right now. I know I don't want whatever. But how do you help people to get clear about what it is that they want?
So there's many questions, but the antithesis of what you don't want normally is what you want, because it's so vice versa. It's so
Right.
opposite.
Yeah, sure.
Spectrum. So, like, if you can just reflect, listen, and then iterate, meaning, so I hear you're not really wanting to be in this job anymore, and it's not fulfilling. Is that correct? Yeah. What is the opposite? So what is it? Like, what would be fulfilling? And just using the same language, right? And then they're like, oh, it's this, and you can see the eyes and the whole physiology.
Right.
Like, oh, okay. But so it's a combination. But for people that don't know, I mean, how we feed our subconscious and our conscious mind, whether it's family, news, what we're learning, absorbing, etc., plays such a big role in our capacity of our resources or lack of resourcefulness, right?
Yeah, no, that's for sure. So, I mean, to that end, to make sure you're feeding your mind good things, like if you're an athlete, you're feeding your body good things. It's very fundamental as well. I understand. Okay, so you maybe it starts with what you don't want. You get focused on what you do want, and then you get clear on the why. What's driving you? What's the motivation behind that? And then what's the next step, Adam? What's the next?
It's the map. This is the changed my life when I found the RPM system from Tony Robbins, the result-focused, purpose-driven, massive action plan. How do you run $6 billion in years, 118 companies, have a fulfilled life, a dating life, take care of your kids and grandkids, and feel great about it, right? So this is the system that I've taken and mixed and mashed a combination of different things from my learnings. So that clear divine compass, that result, the purpose, the why, the roles, the identity that I'm taking into that, and then the map, the massive action plan, right? So I'm a strong believer in the Pareto principle and chunking down. So 20% of your actions lead to 80% of your results. So less is more on a lot of these things. We don't need to do it all, right? So let's leverage, let's put duration on it, and then let's take inspired, joyful, efficient, active action and make sure it's reaching our goal. Is this taking away or closer to it? Right. And then it's consistency, habits, rituals. What are the containers that are going to create success that I need? Is it internal motivation and will, or is it someone else? Right. Is there a consequence that I need to use, or a tribe or mastermind type of thing?
Right.
Accountability. There's a lot of different places.
This episode of the Life in Transition podcast is brought to you by Transition Mastery Coaching. If you have made it to midlife and you're successful, and you are going through transitions in your life, in your business, in your career, or in your organization, and you are looking to master those transitions, to make the most of them, to accelerate into the next phase of your organization or your life. If you're facing, challenges in your business, challenges in your relationship, challenges in your health, and you really want to transition those quickly, I'm here to guide you for that. And I look forward to working with you. You can sign up for either Pinnacle Transition Coaching or Summit. Please go to lifeintransition.online/MLTM and scroll to see the Summit and Pinnacle Coaching, or reach out to me directly on my email, art@artblanchford.com. And I look forward to connecting with you and helping you to accelerate your transitions to achieve what it is that you want to achieve in the second half of your organization and in your life, so you can live your whole life with no regrets. So somehow, don't forget once you have your why, get the clear map. What is the action to take you there, and be clear about which actions are giving you leverage toward that, so you're not stuck in minutia. And then create whatever is needed for you for accountability to overcome whatever the obstacles are.
And one of the key things, take action.
Right.
Right away, schedule it, make it real, do it, go do it.
Right.
And being okay with your association and your belief in what failure is. Right.
But take the action. Fail forward fast. Right. And take the action. Yeah. Nothing replaces action. Right. I think that motion creates the emotion. I say, you want a better emotion? Get in motion. Right. Take action. Right. On a very basic level, if it's just exercise, but also on the business and so forth. Now, this is really inspiring. I think when I think about it, Adam, actually, though, and this is like the most inspiring thing so far, is just like your presence, your energy. Like, you are walking your talk, and I can feel that. And I'm sure our listeners can too. And that's really beautiful. And it's really inspiring to see you doing what it is your divine purpose, your divine calling, and doing it with so much joy and so much pleasure. That's creating magic for your life and for others. I think that's absolutely beautiful. There's two more questions I have for you. And the first one, I'm just going to leave it open because this has been a different conversation, quite frankly. What's something that's coming to you that you feel our listeners need to hear? What's something you would say to those listening right now?
You are loved. You're being held. You are guided more than you know. If you really took a moment to believe that life happens for you and through you, not to you, try it on. See what happens. It could be some distraughtful, emotional, painful times. No matter what, there are gifts in it. It's our job to find it and search for it. If we consistently search and seek for that, I believe that everything is here to guide us and help us. So let's give that opportunity, that invitation to it. And the one final thing I would just say, just briefly with it, is I love the quote from Dr. Naram. It's, I didn't come to teach you. I came to love you, and love will teach you.
And love.
I didn't come to teach you. I came to love you, and love will teach you.
There we go. That's so powerful. And thank you for sharing this. At this workshop, one of the guys that was there this last weekend was Tom Vazzo, who's the CEO of Homeboys, the gang rehabilitation charity in Los Angeles.
Amazing.
And he said, all healing can only begin when you understand and accept you're 100% unconditionally loved by God.
Yeah. Amazing.
And that's exactly what you just said, right? But to feel that and know that, right? That we are 100% loved by God. That's where, and then love, then will then teach itself, and it's, and then one other big takeaway I had from that weekend was, he said this too very clearly. He's like, if you really want to make a difference, go to the margins and be in relationship. Don't fix, don't help, be in relationship with those in the margins, because it starts with the love. And the last thing I'll say on that was really interesting. That's the first chapter of my book, is You Are Loved, because I think without understanding that, there's nothing else that matters. So Adam, wow, I'm glad I asked a different question than I usually ask having you on. Last question here, Adam. Where can people find out more about you? Where can they connect with you? Where can they learn more about what you do and who you are?
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. I love that's the first chapter of your book. So divine intuition tapped
Yeah,
in
isn't that
with
wild?
all of it, right?
Yeah, I'm finally releasing the third printing, which is a little bit cleaner and a little bit clearer than the other two. That's coming out here in a little while. So,
And before I answer your question, I want to ask you this because
yeah.
in response to that as well. Um, Knowing that you are loved and being on the best team and being held and guided constantly, how does that make you feel?
It's tough to say this, Adam. I don't know that yet, 100%.
Got it.
I really
Okay.
don't, and that's my journey, right? Like I that's why that really resonated with me so much when Tom said that, and was talking to me, and to feel that, to accept that I have that 100% love of God, and therefore I am, I can quit hanging on, as the song says, and just be held. Right. And I was reading that in another Richard Rohr book this morning in my wisdom literature time this morning. But it's coming. It's coming. And for some reason, I'm not sure why, I don't have that 100% in me at this point.
Got it.
So, yeah.
Enjoy your journey, my brother.
Yeah, thank you. And when I do, it feels really great. I mean, it feels the times, and I've had some very clear times very recently. It feels, the word I'd use that's very different than most of the time is expansive. I feel very open and expansive. Not like big is not the right word, but like expansive. Open and expansive, I would say, is and at peace, right? And the peace of God that surpasses all understanding, right? Regardless of the circumstances. I was leading one of my MLTM groups, MidLife Transition Mastery, a couple days ago, and I noticed we always do a check-in, and I noticed I think that was the first time I was 10 out of 10, and nothing in my external life has changed. But I had this feeling at that point of being loved completely and being expansive and being seen. And that's, with everything else around me still the same, that makes it 10 out of 10 because of that feeling. So I know what it's like, but I don't live in it all the time. And that's what I'm working on right now. Of course, as the first chapter in the book, not only because it's divine truth, but it's also the truth that I needed. So that's why it's, and because of that, then I assume, okay, I wrote that book to my kids. That's also the most important thing for them to understand. And my daughter just did another edit of it for me, and she's like, "Dad, I've read this before, but it's actually pretty good." That's a pretty good compliment from a 19-year-old, right? Oh, good stuff. So, anything else that you would like to ask, Adam, before you finish up, where people can connect with you?
No, I'm good. I'm content. Thank you. I'm just in flow and having a good time with you. So I appreciate it. All right.
Awesome.
Yeah. If anyone resonates and wants to know more exactly on what we do on a specific level and how we help people become more fulfilled and reach their divine calling, and if you resonate with creation over positive stewardship, come talk to us. We are at the nonprofitcreators.net. Book a call. Love to listen and learn about your deep mission, your calling, what you're here to do. It could be something extremely grandiose, like individuals that are planting 1 billion trees. Using love as a new currency on the planet to transform. Or it could be a tragedy to triumph story that you're not letting something affect you and your identity. And you're saying, I want other people to hear my story so they don't feel alone. Wherever you're at, every single day we get shivers and tears listening to that true essence. But what I don't want, and I don't use hate lightly, but there's one thing I hate. I hate when people shelve their dreams. The road of someday leads to the town of nowhere. Someday I'll get to it. I've seen it happen over and over again. 3 years, 3 days, 3 months, and it's now just withering off. If we can help you steward that, fan that flame, be an ignition, amazing. It comes back to the quote, if I can help more people reach their dreams and reach their goals, natural hit mine. So I'm here in service to that. And otherwise, if you want to hear about what's behind me in that heart, it's innovateforhumanity.com.
Excellent. Adam, thank you so much. Thank you for showing up authentically and really and in the flow today. I really, really appreciate it. It's, as I said earlier, it's a pleasure just to be with you on this call. And I think you've offered a lot of wisdom to a lot of folks. And may we all keep working on our dreams and realize that we are loved and that we have a gift that's ours uniquely to give. I love that Julia Cameron quote that God's gift to us is our creativity. our gift back to God is what we do with it. May we all do with it what we're meant to do with it.
Amen.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I can't wait to hear what action you are taking. Connect with me on LinkedIn or our website, lifeintransition.online, and let me know. Let a friend know too. It could be a huge encouragement to them and keep you on the track. Thank you so much for joining me today. Make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and it would mean a lot to me if you left a review and shared this episode with a friend. If you want to learn more about me and what I do when I'm not podcasting, please visit me at artblanchford.com. Thank you for listening. Together, let's make the most of life in transition.